All right, we're going to try something a little bit different because I've seen it asked several times. So I figure why not make a helpful PSA when it comes into the Let's Defend platform. So one of the issues people have is um, I need to put something on the VM, or I need to take something off because maybe I want to use Remnox as opposed to the VMs provided. So I figure we will take the approach of dumping this stuff first and foremost, or Windows to Windows and Linux to Windows, and then we'll switch it around. So if you happen to not prefer Windows, you want to sit there and use Linux, yeah, there's a way to go through and do that. Basically, just kind of highlight that aspect. Um, Sorry, Mac people. All I have is a corporate MacBook, so I'm not going to sit there and hook up any of this stuff and potentially generate alerts that myself or the team will have to sit there and investigate. So I will do a little bit of work to see as to whether or not if there's equivalence. I have to imagine there is, since Mac is basically just BSD, which um, you know, differences with Linux, but effectively, if you know one, it should be somewhat simple to go to the other. So we'll start with Windows as the host OS and Windows as the um, target OS for the Let's Defend VM. So the easiest method that we're going to start with, Windows to Windows, will be the built-in RDP client, because that allows for copy and paste inside the session. So it is literally just as simple as right-clicking on a file on your machine and then going from there. So let me pick this back up once this gets connected. Okay, so this is up and running. So obviously we can see that, okay, we get the GUI being rendered inside the browser. And so it works this way for both the Linux and the Windows VMs on the Let's Defend platform. You're going to denote a connect issue. You're going to be given then a username, a password, which is typically just empty or blank, and then a host name. And then what you're going to do is fire up the remote desktop client. And you will enter in the IP address information that you're given and the username. So from previous run-throughs, let me copy this over. We end up with this. So with this particular instance, we're using the computer name of 3.144.20.75. And I've got it Microsoft account / Let's Defend, because I'm using a different account. And that will go through and run. No password. And we need to accept the certificate. I believe it's always going to error out, which is fine. Now, if you were doing this for more of a production environment, everything else like that, that would be an issue. So you notice that the VM closes out. And let me move this over here. And now we're looking at exactly like what we had on the other system. And so let's see here. So let's move something back and forth. So let's set up a little thing here. So we'll have the RDP session over in the corner, and then we'll have our little NAS folder. And so what we're just going to do is We're just going to make a test document. We'll open that up, and we're just going to put today's date, which is the date that I am recording. It'd help if I put the appropriate one. I'm going to put my approximate time and testing 1, 2, 3. So nothing super complex, anything else like that, because this is basically just how are we going to move it from one to the other. So it'll get saved on a local file system. So if we go and open it again, okay, we're verified that the contents are there. So this is how simple this is, at least Windows to Windows. If your system doesn't just sit there and choke. So all we're going to do is right click and copy. We're going to come straight to our RDP session. We're going to right click and we're going to paste. We should get a very quick file transfer window. Then of course it comes up when I have to sneeze, but you'll see now that we have a test document on the Windows VM system. And if we double click on that, we'll open it up and we see yet again the same exact information. So simple copy and paste. So what if we want to go in reverse? Sure, not a big thing there. Well, we'll do hash my files. We're going to grab the whole folder, but you could do your individual one as well. We're going to right click on it. We're going to go copy. We're going to go back to our NAS folder. And we're just going to paste. Right click and paste. And this one takes a little bit longer because it's a little bit more than a, 34-byte text document. And so that's how we basically do the transfer from one to the other, at least when it comes to Windows. Now, the other aspect is that there might be additional configuration that needs to be done with the RDP session. So let me get out of this and I'll show you what I mean by that. Okay, so I've killed the Windows VM and you'll see I just have the built-in Windows 10 RDP client popped up. And you'll see that the information's in there that what we just had for the VM. 3.144.20.75 with the LetsDefend username. So from here, you're able to sit there and adjust. So if you happen to notice that there's lag, you can sit there and try to adjust the screen size, everything else like that, the color, try to save some bandwidth going back and forth. But the big portion for what we're trying to accomplish and cover in this video is underneath local resources. And that specifically, we want to make sure underneath local devices and resources, we've got the clipboard clicked, checked, whatever you want to call it. This will ensure that basically there's synchronization. So your computer's clipboard becomes the RDP clipboard, so you can move stuff back and forth. You're given other aspects as well, but realistically, clipboard is effectively where you would need to actually have any sort of real concern about. All right, so that's the RDP portion. So I'm going to go ahead and start Linux, and then we will cover how to go through and move things back and forth, more so in a GUI sense, as opposed to command line, because there's always options for that as well, although maybe not so much for RDP. I know what typically you're using is SCP. I know that's command line in Linux, but I am rather partial to WinSCP when your host system is on the Windows platform. So give me a second, we'll pause it and I'll pick it back up as soon as the Linux box is up and running. Okay, Linux system is up and running. Okay, here comes the graphics. So again, we're just going to do connect issue. We get the same aspect, except this time we actually have a password. So username is analyst, password is 123, and then we have the host name. So what I'm going to do is copy the host name. I'm going to fire up WinSCP. We're going to specify a new site to connect to. File protocol. Instead of SFTP, which is going to default to, we're going to switch it over to SCP. Port number is going to be 22. We're going to put in the IP address of the host that LetsDefend gave us. The username should be analyst, and the password is typically just 123. And oh crap, I dropped something. There we go. That's what I get for leaving something near the edge. Okay, so we're set up for SCP, directed to 18.216.158.87, port 22, username analyst, password 123. And we're going to log in, and we're going to get, much like with the RDP, that the unknown server, and we don't have the key in there. So we're just going to accept, and bang, bang, boom, we're looking at a GUI way to transfer files back and forth. You can see we're already in our NAS directory with the HashMy files and test, but we're in home/analyst, and all we get is a db.png. This is what took me a little bit of time to figure out. You're typically running all these things as the LetsDefend user. So you might be thinking, oh crap, because obviously if we go and open this up, especially with a lot of these things, you'll end up with, well, here we've got all this stuff, but let's say I wanted this cool LetsDefend PNG. I mean, I'm sure I could probably ask G-Man for a copy, but let's just say I'm just gonna, nuts to this, I'm taking it. So what we can do is direct to other locations, computer, home, and now we've got a bunch of other folder directories. We've got analyst, LetsDefend, root, Ubuntu. So likely what you'll see is for like a lot of the challenges that I've done that have given us Linux VMs, I have had to go and grab like the challenge directory and anything else like that and move it out of the LetsDefend /home/LetsDefend/desktop and just dump it into analyst. So if we go and take a look at analyst, there's that db.png that we saw. So if I go ahead and just copy this in here, we'll have to refresh. Now we have that nice LetsDefend icon. So, okay, how are we going to move stuff back and forth from here? Well, I'm going to take left click and hold on test, drag it over to the right side because that's our remote system. I'm going to release, and it's going to copy it. And so we can verify that in just going back into the file manager on the Linux VM. And now we have a test.txt. And if we open it up, we see the same exact stuff. 6-//22/2024, 1000 hours CT, testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, great. So we've gone from Windows to from our host system to the Linux VM. And so obviously it is exactly the same in reverse. We just take the LetsDefend.png, we copy it over, and now we have it in here. So if I bring up this, we can click on LetsDefend.png, and of course it's not going to bring it up to the window that I really wanted it to show up to, but once it finishes rendering, and we just copy over here, and bing, bang, boom, on my local system. So there we go. Everything back and forth. at least on the Linux side or Windows side. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit distracted. There's a chipmunk above the window that is coming right up to the edge and kind of staring in. So apparently I have woodland friends. But so that covers Windows. So let me go through and stand up a Ubuntu VM on my box here, and then we will just do the same exact portion. Now, obviously, I know that there's going to be any number of ways to see about going through this aspect, so hopefully this won't be too much of a pain in the posterior for everyone. So let me pause this and get that up and running. Okay, we're going reverse order this time because we'll go Linux to Linux. So again, here's my Ubuntu box. And you open up the file manager. And this is with GNOME. So if you're using KDE, the process might be a little bit different. So I think GNOME is used for Remmina as well. But so effectively, open up the file manager. I think it's Nautilus for GNOME. They really want to get in. Down at the bottom, you have connect to server. So we're going to use the same exact system. So the formatting is SSH:// the IP address. So 18.216.158.87.22. And they fell down the window well. And they're trying to get out. I guess I go be a good person here in a second. And we do connect. And the first time you do it, you'll get an error. You'll have to just log in anyways to get past it. There's a notice on there. And then we're given this. So we already have this. So we're going to do analyst and 1, 2, 3 and enter. And assuming the demo gods are happy with us, there we go. We are now looking at the analyst directory. So it is exactly the same as before. So we can go here and say I want to, don't I have a, so right click, we'll do new window. I don't think I've got anything here. Yeah, I don't. Nothing I want to move back and forth. And so this works much the same. Okay, so let's say I want to decorate my Ubuntu VM. So we're just going to right click, copy, go over to the actual other window that represents our local system, right click, paste. And so I should now be able to open up LetsDefend on my Linux box. There we go. And it is exactly the same way back. So let's do this. We'll just put it back. So we'll take test from this, we'll put it on the local system. We'll again paste. We'll verify the contents, 34 meg file. Yeah, that's what we're expecting. I may be expecting a little bit too much since I'm doing the screen recording on the same system. Yeah, give me 1 second. Let me pause for everything to catch up. Yeah, yep, that's what it was. So same thing, 6/22/2024, 1000 hours CT, testing 1, 2, 3. And so that's basically just how we move stuff on the Linux system. And if we want to move stuff Linux to Linux, it is just the same. So we'll do delete permanently on the LetsDefend side. Yes, okay, fine. Bing, bang, boop, gone. And so let's just do the same thing yet again. So let's just go ahead and copy, right click, paste, quick transfer over. And we're done. Now test is back on there. So just simple copy and paste back and forth. Um, if you want to do it C or command line, I will find the documentation to go through and do that via terminal window and SCP for Windows or for Linux to Linux. Now we're going to come up to the fun part. Going through and um, going Linux to Windows. So let me pause that to get that particular portion ready and to get the Windows VM stood back up. Okay, Windows VM is up. Same thing as before, username is LetsDefend, password is blank or empty. And this time the Windows system is at 3.21.231.229. So on the Linux side, we are going to use a client called Remmina. Remmina? Remmina? I don't know, I never heard it actually pronounced before. Remmina. And so we're presented with much of the same when we launch it. Like with the RDP client, it wants an address. So we give it an address, the one given to us by the troubleshooting aspect. It's going to go through and try, and so we're going to get the same thing about the certificate that we need to accept, and the same aspect of like what we had before. And so it's just let's defend. For the username, there was no password. We hit OK. And we've got a display of the desktop. So if we go back to the browser, we see that it's gone back to the logout. Now, I'm not going to lie, this is the first time that I have ever actually used this because most often time I either just get do what I need to do via SSH and do everything all command line. But I figured, okay, we're showing GUIs just to try to make it a little bit easier for everybody to get in here. So let's see, fit, toggle dynamic resolution update. Okay, that looks a little bit more presentable. Now let's see if it works the same way. So we want that hash my file, so we're going to right click, copy. We're going to come over to our documents folder. And no, we don't have paste. So then I wonder if it's the same type of situation as before, where at least with the Windows aspect, that was just all configured. And preferences is locked out while we're attached to it. Okay, let's disconnect from it. Let's take a look at preferences. If not, I'm sure a Google search result will give us what we need. Okay, quality, input. That seems like that's more of just overall display. terminal font, security. Oh, I mean, nice that you can sit there and adjust these particular aspects. Ooh, dark theme. That's not what we're really looking for in regards to this. Prevent screenshots from entering clipboard? Maybe. Okay, let's try to connect again and see. And we're not given anything else here. So we'll do the let's defend one more time. And then we've got to adjust the dynamic scaling. Okay, let's see if we can go in the other way. Can we take test, copy? No, we cannot. That is what I was concerned about. Okay, so we can do screenshot. Not that that helps us a whole heck of a lot. Send clipboard contents as keystrokes. Yeah, it's not something else we need either. Switch tabs. There's nothing that comes out from there. Okay. Hang on a second. Okay, I've been screwing around with this so much and for so long that the Let's Defend VM timed out. So I now need to restart the machine. If I do that, I'm going to lose the recording thus far, so I'm just gonna cut it there. So you can try Remmina. Don't let this particular issue throw you off. This is a old VM that I've pretty much done in-place upgrades as Ubuntu is updated throughout the years, so it's probably just needs to be burned down and something else fresh stood up. Mac options. There is in the App Store by Microsoft a RDP client. Let me see if I can pull the name up right quick. Again, I can't show the screen or anything else like that. I mean, I could, but that would be kind of bad. Microsoft Remote Desktop. So if you've got a Mac, you can go through and do that. As for SCP, sit there and try to look at that. Microsoft Remote Desktop has updates that need to apply. Well, I guess I should get those while that's going. Yeah, it looks like there's a few options. Excuse me. I think the closest thing, like WinSCP, would be WinSCP. So an SSH GUI file manager. I will dig through too to sit there and find the documentation for the command line for SCP as well. So if you've got interest to go through that, well, we can sit there and take a stab at that. So yeah, hopefully this has been helpful for those that have had issues. Obviously, in terms of the open source aspects, your mileage may vary because obviously this is Microsoft's RDP that we are trying to connect into using open source, which you would think that everything would be fine, but uh, who knows if it's just some sort of bug. Maybe the version that's for Ubuntu, the version I have, it's dumped in there, it just doesn't work. Maybe if I stood up a Debian box, it wouldn't be an issue, or even if Remnox has got it. If not, it's not like you couldn't add it, but and see how that stands. Um, I will try to bring it back up. Maybe build a fresh box. And maybe there'll be like a part 2 to cover this particular aspect. Or we could take a look at the doing it in command line if there's enough interest. But so there's some quick and dirty options in regards to how to move stuff in and out of the Linux and Windows Let's Defend VM. So with all that being said, I will see everybody in the next video.